if I went to like a biology at like high level biology class, I would have no idea what they're talking about. And a lot of these home buyers and home sellers, this could be their first time. And so explaining things and explaining the market the way that they can understand is so crucial right now. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Estateable, your go-to podcast for raw, real, and relevant information in the real estate world. Today, we are talking about keeping your clients informed and how you can best do that.
Yes, so tons of information is being poured out into society right now. The fear tactics are all-time high, and really, we want to make sure that we are giving fact-based information and we're speaking from a place of knowledge when we're performing day-to-day real estate tasks.
All right, give it a listen. All right, so as most of you know, we have gone to another conference, and one of the quotes that was said there by Donald Miller was pretty interesting to me. It says, "People do not follow the best leaders; they follow the ones they can understand the easiest."
I feel like that's so true. Like, don't we all do that? I think that we relate to those people that are relatable. We relate to those people that we really can find like a common denominator with. And so I think that as leaders in real estate with our clients, it's the same kind of concept. So being able to be easily understood in a sea of the world, like a sea of the mess of the noisiness between social media, the media, just constant the ebb and flow of every day. If we are easy to understand, we're easy to be related to, then we're easy to follow.
Well, and I think that builds your trust with the people that you're following, or the people that are following you, and the people that you're speaking to. Because if I went to like a biology at like high level biology class, I would have no idea what they're talking about. And a lot of these home buyers and home sellers, this could be their first time. And so explaining things and explaining the market the way that they can understand is so crucial right now, because when you don't know something, that turns into fear, right? You're scared to sell your house, scared to get a mortgage, scared to start going to the gym. I mean, there you can apply it to anything. And when you have the fear, that can turn into panic, right? And then you don't end up doing anything and you're just in a paralysis.
Yeah, just almost like that can just spiral down into doing nothing. And I think that, even personally, we can think of times where that is so true. But even think when someone is doing such a large situation as purchasing a home, like this is a big thing that we are helping and aiding people from start to finish. And if there is fear that we can be breaking down, if we can be relatable, if we can really help ease those concerns through the process, then I think we can be getting more people to move. I think we can be solving problems, and we can be getting people to achieve their goals really in the best way possible.
I mean, I know when I bought my house, I was terrified.
Hmm.
Like I was up at night, worried about our payment. I talk about this all the time. When we bought our house, we were house poor. We bought at the top of our pre-approval. We just were not educated buyers. And so thinking about that monthly payment was keeping me up at night, because I knew that money was going to be tight. So I think that the more facts that you can present to your clients, and whether that moves them to buy or moves them to rent for another year, it's okay, because they're going to remember you because you presented the facts and you help them make an educated decision versus just getting another closing.
And I think anyone who's been in the business for a while understands this, right? So I think that coming off the last couple of years, the right choice 99% of the time was for people to buy, right? The right choice at that time was for people to sell. That was not really hard for us to guide people in that direction, which obviously hit our goals, made us successful, all of those things wrapped into one. It was like everyone was on a success path, right? That's not what real estate is about. That is not always the case. And when you have a complex market, which is 90% of your career, it is not going to be a win for all for everyone. And it's not going to be where the absolute right choice is for a move to happen. When you look at that, the fact of the matter is that probably half of the people that you're assisting are never going to be giving a paycheck at that time that you're talking with them. And I would even kind of say in some of your guys' markets, even less than half of percent of the consumer that you're talking to, it doesn't make sense for them to be moving. Having those facts and being able to figure out and navigate that with your clients, your customers, the people that you're talking with, it might lead into you not having a closing with them. And like Ashlee was saying, that's okay. And really we need to be okay with that. Because I think when you're looking at, okay, the only way that I can be successful in this market is to have a closing, to have a paycheck, you're just dead wrong. Like
Mhm.
that is not where we are in the reality of where we are in this time in real estate. And I think really when you think about it, that's probably going to be the foreseeable future. The likelihood of us going back to where we were the last couple of years is not super likely, probably in most of our careers, the lifetime
Mhm.
of our careers. So, um, I also, we talk a lot about my need for perfection and control. We say it like it's a bad thing. But I think this market now, it's like you have to be thinking about what can you actually control? Like really only worry about those things that you can control. And I think one of the biggest things that we can control is the message that we are putting out to those that are looking to us for information, right? So we can't control that the media is going to speak volumes in the direction of fear and causing, fear in our society. But we can control speaking the truth. We can control talking about the big picture. And we really have to get keen in on that right now, like the one thing.
Yeah, and I think that just like, yeah, controlling what you can control, but presenting the facts while you're doing that. So, whether that's, we've talked about before group texting the buyer and the lender, asking what their payment's going to be if they offer on 123 Main Street. Can they afford that? Is that a good idea? And even though you might not be saying it like, hey, you can't afford this house, the lender might be saying that, you're still going to be the expert and you're still going to be showing the care and concern because real estate is not about transactions. And if you are focusing on the transactions, you're doing it wrong. Real estate is about the relationships. So you're building the trust. You're getting to know your clients on a personal level. You're dealing with a stressful situation. So you're going to be overcoming obstacles. And so being able to control the situation and just present the facts is huge in our market. You want to be the professional in this scenario.
Yeah, yeah. And I think right now one of the things that you're hearing so much about is that home prices are going to like values are going to
Mhm.
disappear, right? And when you look at the fact of what the reality is of where we are over, decades of history, when you look at, this actual facts that surround that, how are you speaking to your clients? What are you doing to help with that messaging through, whether it's actual phone call conversations, coffee meetings, the way that you're presenting information through social media. What is it that you're specifically doing right now to overcome a pretty common fear that prices are going to just fall out? And yes, I might be able to buy. Yes, I might be able to afford a mortgage. Yes, it might make sense to do that, but I don't want to buy a house at 500,000 and then in a year from now that house be worth 300,000. So what are some of your thoughts as far as that? Like, what are some things that you're doing right now to help overcome a real fear?
So I'm all about the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I when I'm talking with buyers and sellers, I'm presenting the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are looking in a certain neighborhood, let's look at how much this neighborhood has appreciated over the past few years. We did have a unique market the last few years with the lower interest rates, and that has kind of slowed down appreciation because people aren't paying appraisal gaps right now and paying more for what a house is worth. But I think just knowing your stuff, knowing what your local market is and the appreciation rates, and providing that to your clients is going to be huge.
Yeah. Well, and I think, part of the facts is what is currently happening. So if people are thinking prices are going to just fall off the edge of the earth, wouldn't that assumption be that you are going to see a ton of more inventory
Mhm.
because people are afraid of that, right? So like, okay, we have a fear that people have, uh, prices are going to fall off. So you would think the answer to that would be that there's going to be way more inventory, right? When in fact, that's the absolute polar opposite of what's actually happening right now. So I think that when you take that, breaking it down, not only into, how can you overcome some of those challenges for your clients, but what is just the reality of, if then what is the then what actually happening, and being able to present that. I think in most times, when you really break it down like that, those things are already not happening. You already have the proof in the pudding to be able to help deliver that. But that's specific to different regions. I mean,
Mhm.
there are definitely, places through the recession and through different economic times over history. There are definitely times when those things did happen, but is that specific to where you are? Specific to your local market, knowing your numbers for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think just educating buyers, especially buyers right now, because that's pretty much where I feel like most of the media is talking about these interest rates. And then for sellers, it's like you have this low interest rate, you're never moving. Reality is people are relocating all the time. So there's going to be buyers and sellers. I think talking about different mortgages, like we're in the military town, like we always say, you can do a VA assumption loan where you can get that low interest rate and help your buyer get into a home. So maybe partnering with a lender that can help explain that to you and for you, for your clients, so that you're educated on that because we're problem solvers. So just being able to explain it. And I think that, you know, talking to buyers, like if you can afford the house now at this interest rate, if and when rates go down, because they are always fluctuating, you can refinance. And I don't want to say marry the house, date the rate, because that's not really, it is and it isn't what it is. I think that kind of got overplayed on social
They're
media.
still dating, or they're still married. They're in
Yeah.
a long-term commitment.
Yeah. But I think that, just looking at like, hey, you know what? Interest rates could go up even further. So if you buy now at 8%, and the rates go up to 10%, you're sitting at a good rate. If rates go down to 6%, you can refinance.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I also think that like through all of this stuff, like, really it's like dividing out all of the possible things that a client, a customer, a person across your social media platforms is fearful of. Like there are so many different things. And I think about the people that you're doing business with. The things that we're afraid of right now in our industry are different across the table. We're all fearful of different things. And so I have found it to be super beneficial here lately at first, second, third meeting, as I'm starting to get to know my clients, really, what are your fears? Like, what is I know we have to make this move. Like, this has to happen. You have a housing need, and I'm committed to making that happen. But what is it that I can talk through of things that you feel that you're fearful of? Ask them specifically. Don't assume that they feel like that the prices are going to crash. Maybe they feel like there's not stability in the job that they're taking. Maybe they feel like they're planning to grow their family later and their income is going to be cut in half. Don't assume that they're just worried about value. It might be that they're worried about income. It
Mhm.
might be worried about, affordability. So on that first or second interaction with them, as you're starting to know them, showing that care and concern, because like Ashlee said, it's not about the transaction, it's about the relationship. It's about you showing that you care, and because we truly do. I honestly feel like those that did not care are already out of our industry. Like this
Yeah.
this year was the year of shedding of those that gave a hoot, right?
Didn't they say like 100,000
Yeah.
agents left this year?
Yeah, this year alone. So far here in 2023, and I would say as it continues to kind of shuffle out the deck, there's probably going to be, that or more in
Oh,
2024.
yeah. I definitely think there's going to be more falling out.
I'm super pumped about that.
Me too. So, where are you putting out your facts on real estate? I know that there's tons of videos, there's tons of reels, um, but I want you to take a look at your social media or maybe your email marketing or your newsletter where you're connecting with clients and potential clients. What kind of information are you putting out to eliminate their fear and show that you're a professional?
Yeah, and I think that you just listed all of the places that
Mm-hmm.
we should be doing that. So there's a place for having, the fun and the lighthearted type of social media interaction.
Yeah.
There's a place for, hey, here's all the things happening in our local community in our newsletters. There's a place for the mail marketing and the pop buys and all of those things. But I do think the fact-based conversations in all of those ways that we are already doing, business in marketing, we need to be putting more of that, more guts into it. And it's not just about the fun,
Yeah.
to really actually make those things be worth it. Right. So it still needs to have that mixed into it. But I think we also need to be then mixing in the pot of facts.
Yeah.
So, one of my favorite places to be getting things to communicate, um, I don't necessarily take exactly what they are sharing, but I use it to educate myself and I use it to break down into an easier, understandable way is Keeping Current Matters.
Mm-hmm.
Following them on all their social media platforms. They have, different resources for free on their website. There is a paid subscription that you can do as well, even with video prompts that you
Yes.
you could do.
That's what I was going to talk on too.
Yeah.
They have this platform where you can read a script basically and record a reel talking about whatever information they're, whatever graph that they have present for you.
Yeah, and I think that when you start to systemize, I feel like you need to make sure that there is relevancy in any of that. So we can definitely check the box, right? We can, have a schedule, we can have a program that's pushing us out information. We can have a library of things to choose from and all of that. But I think that you need to be having conversations with your clients to know what should you be talking about. So yes, we want to be growing our SOI, right? It's not just about the people we're already doing business with. So, but I think that should be the focus. They've already proven that they know, like, and trust you. They've already proven that they're going to be sending you more business, their own personal business, referral business. They've already shown you that stuff. So that should be the base of what is it that they need to hear,
Yeah.
and then kind of trickle out from there.
Well, the other thing too, another easy way to create videos and provide information is think about questions that your buyers and sellers ask you every day.
Yep.
Because how many times has a buyer said, "Hey, I don't know where to start?" Well, you're starting with a pre-approval, So it's like the process, but most people don't know the process. And I think that we take for granted how much we know about, you know, the process of buying and selling, but also like a home inspection. Like, hey, this is really like I've sold hundreds of homes. This is a really common issue, talking
Mm-hmm.
about some of the things. Because again, like for us, our state is humid. So, for example, we have fungus growing in crawl spaces, and people are like, "Oh, it's black mold," and you're like, "No, it's not." And you can work with the home inspector to present the facts, like, "Hey, this is common. Most homes have this. It's an easy treatment, etc." Where you're alleviating the fear of anything on a home inspection because
Yeah.
you get a 50-page report and you're like, "This house is crumbling down to the ground."
And it's funny because like sometimes you have buyers in that example where it's like they're like, okay, it's trash. I don't want it. And you're like, well, wait, because the next trash house is coming behind because there's no perfect house.
Well, that
So
literally happened to me.
yeah, literally. You're right.
I had somebody offered on my listing. They got the home inspection and there was fungus in the crawl space. So they backed out. And so we put it back on the market and those original buyers offered on something else. That house had fungus in the crawl space and they're like, "Wait a second. We liked that first house better." And they came back and ended up buying that house.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
So,
Like if we're gonna have fungus in the cross space, then we're getting the house that we like better
yeah.
anyway. So yeah, it is definitely. I think that those things that you could be putting out there, I do think that there needs to be a healthy mix, right?
Mhm.
We're not talking to one audience. But I also think it needs to kind of permeate through everything that you're doing, all of your marketing, all of your different angles of how you're speaking to your clientele. Um,
Well,
it's one big message.
yeah. And so you mentioned keeping current matters, but you can also find a lot of information on NAR.
Yes.
You can find tons of information on their website. If you don't know like what questions to answer. You can go to answerthepublic.com and look to see what people are searching, and make videos and content, around that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that for us, like in our industry, I've been talking with a lot of realtors from other regions of our company right here lately, and I'm like, okay, they're despair. Real estate is
Hmm.
not working. This is the end of the world. And I'm like, how long have you been in business? And some of these people have been in other markets, and they've been in time in business. And I'm like, we are not meant to be where we were for the last couple of years, but are we prepared? What did you do to prepare to get to where we're at? And so when you break that down, it's like, okay, what are your fears? What are the things that are challenging for you as a professional? Because guess what, that is absolutely trickling over to our client base. Absolutely, our fears are not being hidden in the depths of our soul like we think that they are. So then when you go and you get into these interactions with new clients, existing clients, repeat clients, future clients, any person that you're getting in front of, those fears are trickling out. Maybe not at 100%, but they are. So this thought about educating your clients is actually for you as well.
Yeah.
So Answer the Public is a great resource for that. Educating yourself on, you might be fearful that, oh, prices are going to split in half. Okay, answer yourself. You might be
Hmm.
fearful that, the inventory, we have an opposite inventory crisis, that now we have way too many houses and a demand problem of not enough buyers. Answer yourself,
Yeah.
and answer yourself specific to your area.
Hmm.
We have in our local area, we have all of these agents that are saying, very much the same noise that you're hearing. And then we just got reported, our local news source just reported we're one of the top 25 towns in the US for growth.
Oh man,
Like that was 2 days ago.
I didn't see that.
Yes, top 25 in the US for growth. But man, we're in a pit of despair. Like, wake
Yeah.
up, guys. Like, wake up. The thing is you're not fearful of that. So it's not something you're seeking out.
Yeah.
But really educate yourself. So it is two ways on that. Really try to put yourself in the best headspace that you can, as you're going forward as well.
Well, I think too, if you're afraid to speak on a topic, seek out a professional. Do some videos with a lender, with a home inspector, with a title company, and have them help you answer those questions and make a video, right? I mean,
Easy.
yeah, because if you don't know how to explain it, a lender's going to know, or the title company, or a lawyer, or whatever professional you can find, can help you explain that, and then you know, you still come off as a professional because you're doing something.
You also are furthering your reach.
Yes.
Doing that concept, that now is tying into the reach that mortgage professional, the home inspector, the termite company, any of those things, you're furthering your reach with that too. So win-win all around. I think there's so many other ways that we can kind of present this, but I think when you package this up, you guys absolutely have 2 to 3 takeaways that you're able to, actionable items this week. What can we put into action to really make a difference? Because it's going to take small steps. It does feel like we were on a landslide, a monsoon, down to the pits at the bottom of the volcano. But small steps is going to get you out of that. So what are the 2 to 3 things that you can take away from today? What are the 2 to 3 things that you can be presenting? Start with that. It is not the end of the world. It's not the end of real estate as we for the foreseeable future. It's just not. So what else can you add to today? Anything else that you can think of?
Well, I will say that most agents know what's happening. Good agents understand what's happening, and great agents can explain what's happening.
And you guys are all great agents. Like,
Hmm.
honestly, you investing in yourself, figuring out, how can you best serve your clients? You're a great agent. Do not doubt that. Do not think that you don't have what it takes to be in this market. You just really need to dig your heels in and get the information out to those that are following you.
All right. What an awesome episode. I feel like this is one of my jams because it's numbers and nerding out a little bit with data. which you guys know that I love. I love to analyze things. Tiffany, what would you say are some of your takeaways from today?
Well, I do think the reminder of us being all great, we're all great agents, right? And so we need to be speaking into ourselves what we are expecting to be outpouring to our clients. And so I know everybody, I don't care if you are the top of the top or the newest of the new, you have had some fear in this change. Change always brings fear. And so I think for me, takeaway from this is just making sure that I'm having the right conversations with myself. I'm educating myself, but then it's our responsibility to be actually delivering that to our clients as well. So it's twofold. And I think that purposely speaking to myself some truth to overcome fear, it needs to happen on a more regular basis for me. But what about you?
I like what you said about the fear thing because sometimes I get worried to explain data on my social where I'm like,
Hmm.
I mean, well, that one post I shared about interest rates got so many hate comments, and I'm like, I'm never doing that again. But I know I need to. I need to present the data on my social, and just come across as the real estate professional. Like she really knows what she's talking about. I do a lot of social geared towards buyers and sellers. But I think that if I could just incorporate a little bit more of the hot topics that are happening right now with the data, I think that's going to be my biggest takeaway.
Well, and I think bits and pieces that can
Hmm.
be delivered. It does not have to be an overwhelming, like, I need to break down this 27 step into one 60-second reel. Break it down into 27 different reels.
Yeah.
Does not have to be overwhelming.
Yeah. All right. Well, we hope that you guys have some takeaways, and you can find us everywhere on social. Leave us a comment, a 5-star review, and we will see you next time on Real Estate Gold.